Hi, you're on the Alice Reddit Stories channel. Subscribe to my channel as well as to my Facebook, the link is in the description. Enjoy watching. Yikes. What a mess my life has been the last few weeks. I found out on October 14th that my partner, father of our two children 5 and 2, cheated on me with his ex-wife who is also married with 2 kids and lives on the other coast. Technically, when I found out it was only emotional cheating, but that evening/weekend it became physical when she flew out here. So I had to sit with this information while he was physically cheating on me. JFC. My heart hurts just reliving that. I wanted to write this out so I can reflect on it later. It'll be long, so I suppose you can buckle up. My partner was married in '99 and they divorced in 2004-5. He did nothing but spit venom when she would seldomly be brought up with how much she had wronged him. She also cheated on him when they were married with her now husband. I swear to God it's a damn soap opera. Anyway, there is a 16-year age difference between us, and I never was married and I've been with him on and off for 14 years. How I found out? He doesn't really have any kind of social media. He was showing me something on his phone and I saw that a Facebook message came through when a banner dropped down. I didn't react or say anything because I wanted to investigate myself. A few days later, while he was showering, I opened Facebook Messenger on his phone and saw the messages between him and this woman. It wasn't until I clicked on her profile to see that it was actually his ex-wife. I was in such a state of shock and couldn't believe that this was happening. Now, I knew she had reached out back in June to say she had some of his family photos of his grandma and others that she wanted to send him. He came home and told me about it and told me how incredibly thankful he was for me because of what she went through and how he could not have experienced what he did if she didn't decide to leave him. I thought it was odd for her to do that, like why not just mail them? Why do you need to get into contact? Well, now I understand what she was orchestrating. The morning of the 14th when I was getting our kids ready for the day, I took just a couple of screenshots and sent them to myself and deleted them off his phone in messages and photos. He left for work. I was losing my fucking mind trying to keep what I could together to not have my kiddos see me like this. I immediately reached out to my best friends. It was going to be a rough weekend because I was going to a concert that Friday night with my daughter, and the next day we had a soccer game, baby shower, and months ago I booked a hotel for us to stay at for fun to go to Oogie Boogie Bash the next day with the kiddos. He was supposed to stay at the hotel with us even though he didn't have a ticket for Oogie Boogie, but then told me he wanted to stay home and catch up on sleep. Well, anyway, after the concert, I made sure he was asleep and looked through the majority of their conversation. I would have looked through all of them, but they were talking so much and I took all the damning screenshots possible. So much so that if I were to be able to contact her husband there is zero way she would be able to deny anything. She was the one to created a new email address to create the Facebook profile for him, and he even had screenshots of the messenger settings to make sure the message didn't show up. She was holding his hand through this whole process to make their conversations undetectable. I saw that they were supposed to meet on the 15th, the night me and my kids were staying at the hotel. I gambled and turned on his location to share with me on my phone. He apparently did not notice. I was able to see which hotel she was staying at, where they went to eat that night, and when they got back to her hotel. I was on the phone with my friend for 2 hours while they were together. I could not keep still, I was pacing, my mind was just ping-ponging off of everything, and what was horrible is I couldn't even enjoy the time I had with my kids that I was so excited about. Fucking awful. The next day was Oogie Boogie. My son is a bit too young and wild to wrangle by myself and my daughter, so I did have him come and pick him up midday. Well, several hours later I saw that he had gone to her hotel. I asked my neighbor to go knock on our door to see if anyone was there and confirm he had brought my son to her, or if he had someone watching my son at home. Turns out it was the former, and the location showed they were at a park not too far from her hotel. I swear, I damn near left Oogie Boogie Bash to pick up my son and bring him with me. It was so fucking awful that he could bring our son into that situation. However, I didn't want to leave a poor memory in my daughter's heart about me not being there that night. I was so out of my mind though. We used my friend's phone to FaceTime him, who fucking picks up a random FaceTime call. He doesn't have her number. Dumbass. And he barely showed me our son and kept the phone pointing to the sky. Horrible evening. Worst taste left in my mouth when I was looking forward to being with my daughter and making memories. That night, I get home to try and check his messages again. I notice all of their messages were deleted, thinking that the FaceTime raised considerable suspicion, except for the messages they had that night after he got home from the park. And it indeed was confirmed that they were with my son because she had made comments about him and how she wishes it was them having a family. Fucking barf. Leave my kids out of your fantasy. However, I also saw that he said save your energy for tomorrow, and I said hell fucking no. I had my really good friend meet me at like 6:30 in the morning to help me drop my kids off at school/daycare, and we were going through all the different scenarios to confront him. Side note, the reason I had not confronted him until now was I was going to get custody papers served to him, but my anxiety and mental health was not going to be able to hold on until then. Well, it finally boiled down to me having to confront him at the hotel. Originally, we were gonna pretend to be Postmates and drop off an order of disposable douches box that had "you are" written all over it. That didn't work in me, and my friend valeted my car at the hotel and sat in these chairs behind a pillar where valet was and waited for him. I saw on my phone that he was pulling up. As he opened his door, I confronted him. Nothing special was spoken, and he kept stammering with what are you doing here? He then drove off after I said he should stay here tonight because it'll be more comfortable for him than being home. My friend and I then drove back to my place where he and I argued for 40 minutes, and I swear it was the most psychotic argument ever. Complete defensive mode, projecting like crazy, and it just wasn't ending. I decided to leave the argument and take my dog to the dog park with my friend. I texted him to say we should try and be normal for each other for the sake of the kids. He agreed, and we just existed around each other for that week. There have been ebbs and flows since the 17th when I confronted him. I have seen 4 lawyers. I wanted to know what it looks like to walk away with our kids in terms of custody arrangements and child support. He makes double what I do, and I don't make a lot for a HCOL. A week goes by since the confrontation, and I tell him to come home early from work because I wanted to talk. Mind you, they are still talking this whole week. Not through Messenger, but emails now. The point of the discussion for me was to get the truth. The truth of everything, of how did it turn into her sending him family photos, to the emotional/sexual intent of their conversations, and then to her flying out here from the East Coast for them to meet up and have sex. He's been honest, 100%, as I have asked questions I already knew the answer to, and some questions I can't validate the answer, but it was the more hurtful answer than a lying one. This has been a wild ride, and I feel like I am living in a fog. I don't trust myself with making decisions right now because of how wounded I am. So I made sure we did a couples therapy session and have another this week. I did tell him and the therapist this is to see if we can reconcile, and if we cannot, then it's to be used to find a way to separate amicably because we owe that to our 2 kids. I didn't grow up in a healthy environment when my parents split, and I sure as shit do not want to do that to them. So here I am. Doing some form of healing, maybe some form of self-sabotage, all while trying to keep from collapsing. Thankfully, I was able to share nearly all the screenshots I got with her husband. Poor guy, he seemed really nice, and I could feel his pain through the messages because I felt that same pain the week prior. We talked for a little bit, but he's been radio silent since then, which I presume he either confronted her or is seeking his own legal counsel. She done fucked up too because she lives in an at-fault state where infidelity holds weight in divorce proceedings. The true tragedy in all of this is how hurt our children are/will be. Like, my partner and I weren't in a good position before this, which I am sure was part of the moving piece that fostered his behavior. But see, I got a dog to help with companionship. He fucks his ex-wife. Clearly we're not the same. Wow. Felt good to write this down. If you read until now, wow. thank you, and hopefully my pain and situation can help you by realizing you're not alone in enduring such a horrible situation. I am not sure what my future holds, I just need to make sure I make good decisions for myself. My BF and I have been with each other for almost 2 years. Our 2-year anniversary is this Sunday. Generally, the first year of the relationship was absolutely amazing and healthy. We met each other's needs well, aligned with future wants and values. However, starting in November of last year, things became rocky. He didn't communicate to me, leading him to lie to me. Nothing cheated or infidelity related. This took me 2 months to actually get over from and heal. In the preceding months, we often had issues with communication and lack of respect between us, which we have been working on. My BF was extremely defensive when I brought up issues, and I was also critical and passive-aggressive. The last 3 to 4 months have been problematic, with the last 2 months being probably the worst. It made both of us seriously reconsider the relationship. We mutually decide to work on things. I struggle with anxiety, which I am medicated for, CPTSD, and BPD. I am doing dialectical behavioral therapy to deal with these issues. I also lost 4 family members in June 2021, and this also has been impacting me. I have been to grief counseling. I am coping better and learning my triggers gradually, and I communicate much more effectively now. I am going on an out-of-country trip for a week, leaving this Friday, so won't be here for our 2-year anniversary, but we said we'd celebrate after I return. I have been cheated on in the only 2 other relationships I have had and abused in childhood, so I have crippling trust issues and an anxious attachment, which I am trying to manage. In my last relationship, I was cheated on multiple times while I was abroad and even when I came back. My partner has done many things to me, but one thing I believe in reality he will never do is cheat on me. We have had a lot of serious talks before, him reassuring me due to my anxiety. He is an amazing partner. But with the relationship being rocky, I am a bit worried. We were close to breaking up just 2 weeks ago. I have also already requested that we text/FaceTime/call at least maybe once a day, and do our good morning messages, which he pleasantly agreed to. We are both busy PPL, he is in school or playing D&D with a group of friends usually, but he makes time for me whenever possible. I don't want to burden or annoy him with my illogical concern, but my departure grows nearer and so does my levels of anxiety. Ideally, I want to be able to talk to him about my concerns, but not completely freak out and be accusatory. Can someone please give me advice? TLDR, basically the title, but also looking for advice on how to share my concerns with him, if I even should. I have anxiety and past trauma of being cheated on while I was abroad. I know in reality, my partner would never do this to me, regardless of being in town or not. I am scared because our relationship has been really rocky in the past 3 to 4 months, especially bad in the last 2. Ideally, I want to be able to talk to him about my concerns, but not completely freak out and be accusatory. Can someone please give me advice? Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel. There are many interesting articles ahead.